And with me, I got Michael Scott. So today we're going to talk about, of course, Michael going to share his lesson learned, and I will give you some tips and hints what you have to do to pass your exam. So, so today's date is 1st of February in Australia, and of course, other part of the world is still 31st of January 2018. And this is going to be very exciting session because you're going to learn something new from Michael, and of course, something new from me as well. Not further delay, let me get started with the okay, so today's agenda. So brief introduction about the speaker of the day. That's Michael, and Michael will share his experience, tips, and how he completed his journey, and what he did. It may or may not be applicable to you. It's up to you how you're going to take this lesson learned. And I will share how to write, how to write perfect PgMP application if you're still into the application stage. And then the next thing I will talk about how to study for your exam. And the most important thing, how to check if you're ready for the exam. So, and that's another thing we'll talk. Then we'll take some question answers. And yes, on the screen you can keep writing your questions so that we can check them at the end. So we'll take your question in the end. Okay. All right. So this is us. Michael actually works in Darwin. This is in Australia, and he happened to be in Sydney. So we met for a class, and we got opportunity to take a quick picture. I think Michael is looking smart.
I think you're the smarter one.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Thanks, Michael. So with no further delay, let me hand over to Michael. Michael, go ahead.
Thanks, Dharam, and hello, everybody. As Dharam said, I'll just give you a quick overview of my experience in terms of taking the PgMP. There's some stats on the page there of everybody in terms of my details. I'm a senior project manager for a company here in Darwin in Northern Australia. I've been a project manager for maybe now over 10 years, probably closer to 13 years. So I started sort of in construction, sort of 10 years in design, then move into projects. And as you can see, I've moved up the chain to be a senior PM with RPS project management, a client-side project manager up here in Darwin. So I manage sort of large projects ranging from 10 million to sort of $150 million type of projects. I've been with a PMI since 1999, again PMP in 2007, and I started my journey with PgMP sort of way back December 16, initially thinking about I needed to move on from just a project to sort of exploring programs because I'd moved into that space with my position. So I successfully completed the PgMP in October 2017 with a little bit of help from Dharam. So that's a bit of details on me. You want to go on the next slide, Dharam, or I'll keep on going? So as I say, I started my journey in December last year. I say all the information you require is on pmi.org in terms of the PgMP. It's as I found out, it's very different from the PMP. People think it's going to be similar to the PMP. It's very much a more rigorous assessment process rather than just learning PMBOK. So the PgMP, it starts with you have to plan in terms of how you're going to take it, because it's quite involved, both in terms of documenting your experience and education, in terms of the application process and the experience summaries, especially as I fell foul of doing that and actually called upon Dharam to sort of assist me with doing the experience appraisal, the experience summaries. I think there's a slide later on in terms of the timeline, but That is the first hurdle to get across in terms of getting your experience, and then PMI will say you can move on to the next stage. That is also subject to audit. I wasn't subject to an audit, but it can be subject to an audit.
Michael, I think we lost connection for last 1 minute.
All right.
Yeah, I think now we are visible again. Can someone please write on the chat? Sorry about this technical problem.
Does everybody hear me?
Someone please write. Ali, can you hear me? Okay, let's continue then. Michael, sorry.
Okay. All right. Now, so we're talking about experience. They're the experience summaries. Very important part, and some people fall foul of that first step. And it's very important to sort of get that experience summaries in terms of your experience in project management, in terms of the different domains which are in the SPM. So as you see on the screen, there was my journey. So I say back in December 16, I started my initial assessment, looking to see if I had the experience and knowledge. Then early January, I tried myself to submit the application, and then actually failed. And PMI sent me a rejection letter of my experience, of the experience summaries. And at that point, I knew that I had to seek guidance. And then after a search, I sort of came across Dharam and his group, and felt that a one-on-one mentoring would probably suit me better. I know there's group mentoring available, but I felt, given the distance where I am up here in the Northern Territory, that a one-to-one would suit me better, and I scheduled sort of the focus mentoring with Dharam every week, and it paid off in terms of focusing what I needed to achieve. So I'd strongly suggest that people who are going to enter the PgMP find a good mentor to take them on the journey. I find personally it's very difficult to do that on your own.
Thanks, thanks, Michael.
So I had weekly kind of meetings with Dharam, and we covered each of the domains and subdomains within the SPMP and the exam content outline, ECO. I say every domain within Dharam's workbooks had sort of questions, so we reviewed those at each at each meeting to ensure that I fully understood the domain and the various processes within that, and then moved on to sort of, I felt we covered all of the SPM. After reading the SPM and ECO I must have read it 3 or 4 times, both documents. And again, I would stress that do not think this is sort of a one read type of exam. It's constant reading of SPM and the ECO guide. Make sure that you fully understand the interactions with each of the domains, because most of the exams are not like PMBOK. They are scenario-based questions. So you have to understand the material to apply that in real-life examples. So as you say, at that point, I did sort of practice tests with mock exams, both with Dharam's question book and others, most notably sort of Jean's question book and Ginger's question bank. So at that point, I did questions, reviewed them, and I went back again and retook them again until I was satisfied that I had sufficient pass. I was comfortable to take the test, and then I booked the test down in Sydney. The test using the Prometric site, which I think is all in PMI, and then by that stage, I felt I was ready for the exam. I had sort of got to a certain percentage in the pass with the question bank, so I felt I attend the exam and pass it. It's most important when you attend the center that you feel that you're comfortable that you can answer the questions. If you're not comfortable, I would delay it. There's no point sort of taking it and then sort of trying to sort of think you can pass it. So again, on the slide there's the main textbooks I use: SPM, obviously, Eco, PMBOK. Obviously, kind of program is a subset of program management or project management. So PMBOK is essential, and Dharam will probably touch on sort of the key points in PMBOK that you have to, especially the earned value section, sort of the communication section that underpin program management. Again, Dharam's question bank was invaluable for each of the sections, breaking that down and then questions at each sections. And John's book I find helpful, and Ginger's book with exam practice test guide as well. Ginger's is actually very much different from both Dharam's and John, but in reality, Dharam and John's probably more realistic to the exam. And also, not least, is the group, the PgMP work group, which I find wasn't an active participant in, but I would strongly recommend that people join that group. There's a lot of active people on that group that can assist you in the type of questions you're going to receive, and the group actually assists in terms of dissecting and getting what the right answer is. So
yeah. Okay.
That's really what I use in terms of the three question banks and the PgMP group in terms of when I felt I was ready to take the exam. Dharam, is there anything else you want to add? Oh, and yes, sorry.
Next slide for you.
Thanks. Just the exam prep again. You say the guidebooks I used. Dharam's book. You see the two scores in terms of my initial and final, and sort of the SPM guide. So you can see the Dharam and John. I progressively got better in terms of I was in the 70s, 80s. Ginger's book, a much more challenging question bank, and when I first took it, I got a very low score and was actually quite disappointed and find in terms of my marks at that. And Dharam actually sort of said to me, "No, don't be too worried," But I worked at that in terms of getting that up to sort of plus 50, and up to 60% when we redid the questions. So people get disconcerted when they do Ginger's question bank, but it is a different style. But I still think it's essential when you're doing the exam that you try Ginger's questions, because they really are quite a different type of question. And if you can get to that level of percentage, I think you're in a very good position to do the exam.
Michael, just a small point here, if you excuse me, just a point on the Ginger's book. Yes, questions are hard, lengthy, and difficult, and you may not score as much you think you are hoping for. But the reason I'm still suggesting is because the answers and explanation you're going to see going to help you to go back and read SPM, and that's where you start getting the value from her book. It doesn't matter what score you have. It's all about if you can go back to SPM and see the particular words which you missed out in your first reading. That's where the value is coming from her book. Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely, Dharam. I find the question bank challenging, but as Dharam says, it sort of made me go back and read the SPM Third Edition and the Eco again, fully understand sort of the domains and subdomains, the interactions, the sort of the knowledge areas, and also sort of the interaction with PMBOK. I think you can forget about sort of there's a lot of earned value questions, as I mentioned, that you will have to know as well. Exam preparation, there's sort of tasks there in terms of memorization. Also the 72 process areas tasks that you'll have to understand. All of the named artifacts, which are in the table, which has an appendix, which some people forget. Make sure you understand what those artifacts are at the end of the standard. Inputs, outputs, supporting activities. Again, very important in terms of you understand the domains and subdomains, the interaction of each, because obviously it's not just each domain and subdomain have different interactions with each other. All formulas, these are easy marks if you can understand. It's going back to PMBOK and to earned value, CPI, SPI, and the like. And communication theories talked about in terms of PMBOK again, Maslow, and such like. Some details of different key deliverables in the program, sort of mandate, business case, program plan, project character, program roadmap. Key, fully understand what those are, and where they are in the program management lifecycle. Very important to understand those. Okay, so those are sort of key things, but again, all of this is in the SPM and ECO, so fully understand that standard. Experience, okay, again, I've mentioned scenario-based. This is very different from PMBOK. It's scenario-based, so you're taking through a kind of scenario, which you're giving, the 4 multiple choice questions. So it's really a application of the standard to a real life example. So it's not sort of a copy and paste from the standard. It's actually applying, making you think about how you would apply it in a specific example. Again, artifacts, as we mentioned. Yeah, in terms of SPM, again, it's sort of memorize what those are, input, output, and all the artifacts in terms of what they are, because these will be sort of mentioned within the scenarios that you will have to know. Again, see rates to base artifacts if you fully understand SPM ECO. I find sort of there's some disconnect between ECO and SPM. Probably Dharam will talk about that, because there's sort of the life cycle is quite different in ECO than it is in SPM. But I think there's some talk about sort of changing that. But at the current mind, there's ECO is sort of a different sort of document in terms of what your role as a program manager would be, as opposed to the standard in terms of the interaction throughout the life cycle. Type D, mathematical, simple formula, let's say easy marks in terms of memorizing sort of the common formulas that are within specifically project management within PMBOK. As you can see now, there's the grades in terms of the pass, overall pass. That's where you want to be in terms of target. That's where I was when I finished my exam. I was in the target range. Let's say above target, below target. So you want to get, I think when you do the exam, it's on a pie chart basis in terms of the various domains and where you are. So in terms of you want to be sort of majority of your pass with in target or above target within those with each of the domains.
Yeah, as long as you are in the target and above target, you will pass the exam.
That's Perfect.
Right.
So that's my sort of base, the sort of my summary lessons learned. Preparation, as I say, I probably didn't do this as well. I started doing the exam summaries and then fell foul of sort of PMIs, a certain way of structuring those sort of experience summaries. And that's actually, I found out I needed assistance at that point, because and Darwin will probably talk about how that is done. But it's a common mistake that you think you can just write down your experience. There's a certain style that PMI require, which you need a sort of a mentor to sort of take you through, because you can follow that. I think if you fail more than once, Durham, I think you only have one try at this. You get one time, and if you don't do it right, you've kind of you can't proceed. So again, plan it well, get a coach who understands how the process works, and you're set. Number 2, participate in social forums. Again, it's sort of the PGM for you WhatsApp group that Durham had started. I found very good. Obviously, there's a lot on the internet in terms of media. There's actually a LinkedIn group which I had joined as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there, but actually there's a lot of stuff out there that's actually not that good as well. So just be careful in terms of who you align yourself with. But again, I think Durham, if you're taking Durham's course, Durham is sort of the I would strongly advise that he understands kind of how to pass this exam. Connect to professional work, professional exposure. So it's always coming back to your sort of when you take an exam, you're doing it for a reason. You've reached a level in your career that you feel you're working into a program level. So it's no point if you're still doing projects. Program is a completely working in the program space is very different from working in the project space. So feel that you have met the right criteria, that you're working on programs. And certainly there's a lot of misinformation about program management out there in industry. So it does connect you with professionals who really understand what program management is. Believe in yourself, come out of fear. There were certainly times when during the process that I sort of doubted myself in terms of how I could achieve this. But it's keeping at it, the sort of determination in terms of getting through it, constantly sort of believing in yourself, and sort of, again, a good mentor like Durham has assisted me in keeping me focused, and sort of every week sort of pushing you to sort of get to a goal. So again, I can't strongly enough to sort of get yourself a good mentor who can sort of drive the right outcome. Take calculated risk, preparation satisfactory. Yeah, again, make sure you're plan it out and make sure you want to be sort of set your target in terms of I want to achieve PMP within a year or 6 months. But take your time, kind of whatever works for you in terms of the preparation, and just lay it out. As I say, I probably could have done that better. As I say, I had started off bad in terms of the experience summaries, but sort of realigned myself and sort of got myself a mentor, and at that point I knew I could do this. A bit on examination. Cam, Dermot will probably touch upon this in terms of examination, how you do approach the exam, and how you do within and during the exam. In terms of remain calm, there's no point in panicking. You've got 4 hours to do 170 questions, so plan it out. Take a break, compose yourself. If you're prepared, you shouldn't have any problem. If you've done the right preparation with the various question banks and paced yourself, you will have ample time within the 4 hours. I think I finished within 3 hours. Yep. If you know what you're doing, you will. It's only if you panic and you can find yourself in trouble. 7, full time. Yeah, although I had took it in 3 hours, I took that time to sort of go mark some questions and review them again. Ones that I felt they were questionable whether I had chosen the right answer. So I went back at that, and actually there were some questions that I actually changed back. I changed because at the time when I was reading the scenario, I had one view, and then over time of the exam, I came back and said, no, that wasn't the right answer. So again, manage yourself. If you're not sure, mark it and come back to it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Michael. It's really, really good to have your feedback and lesson learns and what to do, what not to do. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem, Dharam.
Thank you. And let me take you to the journey now, guys, about how to get to the stage where you can pass the exam. So what you learned from Michael and what he did, and I was also able to contribute to his success. So I feel honor to be in his journey. So thank you for that. Now, okay, just so a little bit about myself. I started teaching PgMP since 2009 as a PMI Sydney chapter certification director, and that time, and I passed my exam, and since then I have contributed to success of 132 PgMPs. As of yesterday, yesterday I got one more person, so 132 PgMPs. And last year, 2017, I got 52 PgMPs, and this year already in January I got 4 PgMPs. So my personal journey is going very good, and I'm feeling proud that I am able to contribute to success of so many people. And I am looking forward to meet some of the new people, especially I can see some people from Mexico, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. And yeah, so let me tell you, first thing first, I think many people are at the stage where you are going to write application. And the most important part of the exam is, or journey is, get your application in a stage and get it approved by panel review. To get it approved by panel review, you have to make sure your application is, ready and ready to be approved. So this PgMP application, you can you can do it on pmi.org, which is any other exam, you do that on the website. You can start writing your personal information, your contact information, your education, your organization information, and your program and project experience. Project experience, you don't have to worry, have to write start and end date and some few lines, but not too much. You don't have to worry too much about that. Make sure the project and the program and the programs, there's no overlap at all. PMI is very particular about it. While you're running multiple projects, projects or multiple programs together, but PMI like to see one project at any time or one program at any time. And when you're writing about the project under program, that's a different story. That's where you have to show interdependency. So make sure this is very important. You have no overlapping at all. Even the month, if you're finishing a project in let's say December 2013, the next project or program can start in January or later. Okay, so that's very important. Program overview, and that's where another important point I have is try to minimize number of programs. If you have one large program, and that can suffice your requirement for PgMP, go for that. And 1, 2, 3 maximum, try to be at 3. If you go more than that, is actually adding your more work for yourself and more work for me, because if I'm reviewing your application, I have to I spend time on that. Plus, in case you have to go through audit, that's where you have to run around many people, that's what you want to minimize. So you would write your program description, and that has to be strategy. You have to show how the program was strategically aligned with your organization, and program structure, benefits. It has to come out as a story. So up to 400-500 words should be enough. And if you're taking my guidance on that, I will help you with writing this program description. And also the 5 questions. 5 questions are really, really important. The last bullet point, this is where PMI is analyzing your program experience, and these questions will be reviewed as part of the panel review. So PMI's reviewers, they are volunteers just like you and me. After getting PgMP, you can get a notification or email from PMI to see if you are interested to be a volunteer in the panel review. So these questions will be reviewed by the 4 or 5 people, and they are sitting anywhere in the world. And if you've done the justice, if you are able to show your program experience, then you have no problem in moving to the exam stage. Again, I have reviewed more than 600 applications so far, and all of them have gone through with no problem at all. So if you need my assistance, I will be more than happy to do that. If you're joining my bootcamp or taking my mentorship or group program, you will get this as a part of the program. But if you just want to have my application, that's also available. Just on the application, how to calculate the experience, list all the projects and programs separately. Do not group the program management with your project management experience, because you have to show 4 years of project management experience and 4 years of program management experience for the bachelor's degree holder. For non-bachelors, you have to show 7 years of program management experience. So just make sure there's no overlapping. Okay, so for the program experience, you should have at least 2 projects within the program. If it's only 1 project, then it's not a program. PMI will not like it. You should have at least one project manager reporting to you. It can happen that you are one of the project manager as well as program manager. You have to see that you have to have at least one project manager reporting to you. Okay, if you have any doubts on that, any clarification, you can talk to me. How in many organization, just like Michael, he's in construction industry. While he has run $100 or $150 million project, program from PMI point of view, but he is called project manager or senior project manager. So the role does not matter. What matters is the work you have done as in that program. Okay, so if you have any doubts, let's talk about it. Okay, so if you are recent PMP, so you probably have the your experience, most of the information already there. So you can tick a box. So that will help you to fast track your application. And your experience as a project manager, program manager can go back 15 years. Anything before that, you will not be able to use it. So try to have something recent. And if you don't have a recent program or a project, doesn't matter, but just stay within 15 years time. Enter hours in every domain. We have strategic alignment, program lifecycle. So 5 domains we have. So you should show some hours. And do you have a formula for that? You can use your own experience, but it is good to show more hours in program lifecycle, some hours in in 10-15% in other domains as well. And guys, keep writing your questions on the question pad. If you have any questions, keep writing them. Okay, your experience. The 5 questions are very, very important. As I said, these will be reviewed by the panel review. So it's how you write your experience is very important. Otherwise, PMI will send it back to you. Just like Michael said, his first application was sent back to him for further work. PMI don't reject any application, but they allow you to go back and if you want to revise, you can revise that. I don't know if they allow you more than 3 chances, but I have not seen anybody going more than 3 chances anyway. Okay, so the word limit, you can write up to 500 words. Some people just leave 3 or 4 lines, just not good enough for application. My expectation will be around 300 to 500 words. Just write a nice story, what you did, how you did. It's all about you, your experience as a program manager in that particular domain. So it should come out as a story. You contacted your sponsor, and then you conducted such brainstorming session and build a business case, so and so. So when you write, it should come out as a story. So it should show your experience. Make sure you use word as I. Because of me, I created, I was responsible. Doesn't matter how many times you have to use I, it's okay. But it should be only you, your experience. Don't write we or our, because that's not showing your experience as a program manager. And avoid textbook definition. Yes, some of the words you like to keep them in the response. That's okay, but don't write word to word. I've seen some application, they start talking about benefit relation plan, and before they write about the experience, they said purpose of benefit relation plan is such and such and such. So they spend 2 or 3, just write 3 or 4 lines explaining what is program benefit relation plan is. They don't want to know about that. They want you to know your experience in that space. Okay. All right, this is all about application. As I said, I have an application support package. If you can buy it, and you can get it as part of my mentoring programs. Now, how to study for the exam? You got a lot of information from Michael, but this is something I like to give from my side. Before I get into that, and just talk about the exam. This exam consists of 170 questions, and you have 4 hours. So in reality, it's 1.5 minutes per question. I have seen people struggling with in completing this exam, and it's purely because they do not know how to attempt this question. And you heard from Michael, he was able to complete his exam in 3 hours. Most of my students are completing the exam within 2.5 to 3.5 hours. And it's not that they have to rush. It's all about how to get the right answer in the shortest time. And during the question session we have, you will learn all those techniques. Yes, reading part, you can read the SPM, you can read ECO, you can read PMBOK. At the end of the day, how you attempt these questions will make you pass or not pass. Okay, 20 questions. There are 20 pretest questions. This way you will not getting any score. Even if you get all 20 questions wrong, doesn't matter. But the problem is you do not know which 20 questions. They are randomly dispersed. So in the exam, you have to attempt all questions as if it's a real question. Why PMI do that? Because they want you to test their own question, whether the question is good enough to be added in the real exam question, or they're testing their own questions. Paper-based exam is available. I think they're changing some strategy, and there's some change happening in the paper-based exam side. But as per my information, if you are away from a programmatic center 300 kilometers or further than that, then you have to either take a paper-based exam or you have to travel to other city. Like Michael has to travel to Sydney to do his exam. I think Michael is Sydney or Melbourne, one of the place. Yeah, even Melbourne. Anyway, so and this exam is in English only, while PMP you possibility of other language, but in this case you have English. Some study tips. And this is where you have to read. You have to make sure you understand the SPM very well. Standard for Program Management. Again, there are two things. One thing you have to note: if you're doing your exam before 25th of June this year, then you are still using Standard for Program Management 3rd Edition and PMBOK 5th Edition. In case you're doing exam after 25th or after 25th of June, then you have to use the 4th edition of Standard for Program Management and 6th edition of PMBOK. Okay, so I'm still focusing on 3rd edition because we still have plenty of time, and we still have 5 months to complete the exam. All right, so you're going to read SPM carefully, thoroughly, even every word we're going to read. Part of my mentoring program, you'll get a book called Complete Reference Guide for PgMP, and this is very good. And I'm saying, but many people are also saying that. What I've done is a combination of ECO and SPM, and I presented in a readable format. It's easy to read, so going to help you. You can, if you just want to buy a book, that's also available. They can do that as well. So read SPM at least 2 times, go through ECO, the examination content outline, understand each and every task and the sequence of the task. I do have a document called Pathfinder that comes with as a free whenever you buy anything from anything related to PgMP. I am not allowed to sell that document, but I'm happy they are allowing me to give it as part of my mentoring programs, so there's no problem. But this Pathfinder is going to be very helpful, especially how to read the task, breaking down the task into 2 to 3 parts. So yes, consider that. PMBOK 5th edition. It depends if you are a PMP or recent PMP or PMP you did 10 years ago. You need to, if you are older PMP or you've not done PMP, so this book is going to be very important. So target to read one read full. I know the book is big, but you should target to read start to end, and you can scan through most of the pages, but then focus on some of the keywords. Keywords being the theories, any technique, any particular tools, technique which stand out, like a Monte Carlo simulation, Ishikawa diagram, Delphi technique, Pareto diagram. There are many of them. Just make sure when you read, underline them, and you have good understanding about the every tools technique mentioned there. Another thing which sometimes people forget to read: PMI code of conduct and professional ethics. This is very small, 3-4 page document, and you can expect to see two to three questions, up to 4-5 questions from this section as well. So don't underestimate this one. It is very simple document, so please read it. It will definitely going to help you. Then start doing practice questions, okay, and look for your weak areas, and then go back and read the books. So these tips are valid when you are doing study by yourself, or you are in the one of my other program. But if you are doing the fast track mentor program or group program, there is a different strategy to study. I will talk to you about that when you are interested in those programs. Okay, so test format, and everybody is going to see different type of exam, and in general, based on the feedback I have received, you're going to see 2 to 5 or maybe up to 10 to 15 long scenario based question, and some of the scenario can go up to 25 or 30 lines. So the problem happen when you are you're not coming from English background, and you start reading the scenario and trying to make sense of that. That's where people lose time. And I will be telling you some technique how to scan through these questions, the scenario, and do the questions in the fastest way. Okay, I do have some tips on that. So, and there are questions, a lot of questions with talking about sequencing. Sequencing mean which process is coming, which process will come here, what is the next step, what is the last thing you will do, and so and so. So make sure you understand in the sequence of the domain, subdomain, phase or subphase, task, and processes, documentation. So this can give you, if you have clarity on these things, then you will get 30 to 40 question, easily you can score very highly. You likely to see some one-liners as well. So if you are struggling with first few questions and you start feeling that you are not on the right track, don't worry, don't give up, never give up, because you likely to see some one-liner questions as well. And these one-liner question can be done within a few seconds as well. If you know the topic, if you know the books, you can even do within a few seconds. So you can, if you're struggling with the in your doing exam, last 50 questions you can probably do in last 15 minutes. It depends how easy the questions are. Anyway, and PMBOK, as Michael suggested, PMBOK, and I'm also recommending you should read PMBOK, especially some of the key topics like earned value. It's very, very important, likely to see 4 or 5 questions from that area. Critical path, fault path, so sequencing of the projects or sequencing of the task or the work. Make sure you go through the critical path, or time management from PMBOK. Look at the HR management, human resource. This is where you're going to learn some theories, master theory, theory X, Y, Z, and few more. Things like Delphi technique, Ishikawa technique, and Six Sigma, Monte Carlo, and a few more. So okay, so this is about the test format. I will take few minutes about the common mistake we do, many people do, not understanding the complexity of the exam. So some people just go consider this as another extension of PMP, but this is more than PMP. There you're going to see a lot of scenario-based question and complexity around the sequencing and formula-based question. If you are not well prepared, you're going to struggle. Okay, so make sure you have done enough justice in your preparation. You understand SPM word by word. You understand the ECO, understand PMBOK. Some PMP exam strategies, you can apply some of those. Some formulas you will learn, you will use in the exam. Some people even forget to read PMBOK, and they sometimes they think they did PMP a couple of years ago. They remember those most of the things. It may be possible, but it's a good idea to scan through the PMBOK at least. So make sure you understand some of the key topics which I mentioned earlier. Some people rely on memorization. It can work in some other exams by memorizing formula, memorizing the process map, and memorizing few things. But here in this exam, memorization is not going to help. You need to understand the topic. You need to understand the purpose of that. You understand and what are the content of the document. So understanding is very important. So I will when I'm working with you, I will show you how to understand, how to visualize the topic. That will help you during the exam. The next point is poor time management during exam. So you have to go with a plan. That's, yes, I have 170 question and I like to complete so many questions by this time. Okay, and keep an eye on time as well. In case you're struggling, you have to change your strategy. Okay, so that's very important. But another important point is, even if you are struggling with time, don't give up. Never, because as I said earlier, most likely you're going to see some one-liner question as well. So never ever give up until and finish your 4 hours, and you will do good. Dependency on free online material. Some people just like to depend on free online material. Unlike PMP, yeah, because it's now very old, it's going for many years, a lot of free material available. PgMP is still new. Some people are trying to give you free material just to attract you to their programs, and these free question bank may not be worth, because some of them just put their one liners as what is the program charter, program, what is the print. So it's a very basic question. It can give you false impression that you are scoring 100% and you're ready for exam. So just be careful about the free online. So in case you wanted to use the material, you can double check with another expert, or you can ask me about that. The next point is very important: not enough rest. One of the recent PgMP, when he attempted first attempt in December, he was working in the night shift, and next morning he was doing exam. So guess what? He literally sleeping in the exam. So and he failed very badly. He got almost all of them as need improvement, and he knew that what problem what was his problem, and I know he is capable of. And he spent time together and talk about the strategy for next attempt, and his next attempt was excellent. He got above target, and out of 5 he got 4 above target and 1 target. So because of the not taking enough rest during the exam day, he lost his first attempt, and it costed him another $600. And of course it helped hurt your your confidence level. The next point is talking about panicking. Some people get panic and start losing confidence, and start losing focus. So please guys, this is very important exam. Make sure you bring yourself back. It can happen after a couple of hours you start feeling bored or too difficult. Take a break, go to a restroom and wash your face and do some stretching and breathing exercise. If you do join my program, I can help you with some breathing exercise. I am also a yoga teacher, so I can help you with that side. But never ever lose your focus. Please stay focused and keep motivating yourself. Every question is very important. You don't want to miss any question. Okay, so keep focused and do your exam, complete your exam on time. Some people don't take a break, even if they have feeling pressure, they should go to a restaurant, but they don't go to, because they just don't want to lose any time. The problem is, in this case, your focus is shifted. You're not thinking, your thinking is shifted somewhere else. So take a break. It will take only 2-3 minutes, but do that. Okay, so don't continue with the pressure. Okay, so and the last point is, as Michael suggested, that take some assistance, somebody who has been teaching, guiding, working with PgMP. They understand how to make you ready. Again, it's not a simple exam, so other people's help will help you as well. And what you should do: study hard and prepare, and make sure you have right books. Have enough rest before the exam day. Select your mentor carefully, and then if you select, and then trust the person. First, to do the careful analysis, see the testimonial, talk to other people who has gone through their program, and then trust them, because it's very important to trust your mentor. Understand your strength and weakness, then work on the weak areas. Make sure you're feeling comfortable in every area. Maintaining your work life work study life balance is, you have to work, still work, you have to look after your family, and you study as well. So make sure you have a plan how you're going to study, and giving enough time to your family and your friends. Rate Pembroke, as I said, is very important. One reading can be full, one scan. The second is going to be focused with looking at the key points. Understand the task from ECO. The ECO is very important document. So the task, 72 tasks, read them carefully, and make sure you understand the sequence. Read SPM word by word. That's where Ginger's book will help you when you do the exam, when you do check the result and the explanation, that she will take you back to the every word of the SPM. Build your exam strategy, and part of my program, I do provide 1 hour of strategy session a week before your exam. That will help you to see where your strengths are and what you have to do, still have to do within the last 7 days or 5 days, and what you're going to do in your exam session. So that's very important. I call it pre-exam strategy session. Purchase some of the reputed question bank. So as Michael suggested, My Question Bank and Ginger. So these are considered to be good. Never panic, keep focus, and work hard. Some of the key terms. And how do you check your readiness? Again, you do the mock exam and look at the mock reported question bank, and so book yourself 4 hours, block yourself 4 hours and do all full mock exam in that hour. So what we are testing here, testing your time management skills, testing your accuracy. So then you analyze whether you're scoring enough to pass exam. So just guidance, if you are doing my question bank, so I'm expecting around 75 to 80%, and Jane around 75% question on score. Ginger, even if you are scoring 65%, I'm happy with that. So 60 to 65% good enough. So this is my guidance, and if you're scoring consistently this kind of scores, then you can consider that you are pretty much ready for the exam. So it may be hard, but worth it. So guys, it's not rocket science. This can be done. If I have done that and Michael has done that, anybody can do. So just trust yourself. Before we finish, I'd like to talk about some of my upcoming programs. So Sydney program is actually starting tomorrow. If you are in Sydney or Australia, you like to join, I still can allow you to join. And the good thing in this program, I got one person actually traveling all the way from Germany to attend this program in Sydney, and another one person she's coming from Melbourne to attend this program. So it's people love my program. And if I'm coming to your city, so Bangalore, I will be 23rd to 25th, and Melbourne 2nd, 4th March, and Dallas, Texas 5th to 7th, and Mexico I will be there on 8th to 10th March. So you have a link on the top, and I will share this recording so you can feel free to browse through my website. There are 4 type of mentoring program, and one of them is fast track mentoring program, and another one is a personal mentoring program. This is what Michael thought is going to be good for him. So I do provide one-to-one program as well, and there's a group program. So difference between group program and fast track is the fast track finish in 6 weeks, whereas group program finish in 11 weeks, and plus 1 session where the strategy session. So while group program looks very attractive because it can take you 11 session, but fast track will help you to complete your readiness in 6 weeks in the group, and allow 2 to 3 more weeks. So you can be ready with the fast track in 2 months time, and group program will help you to make yourself ready in 3 to 4 months time. If you cannot attend any of these 3 programs, I do have recorded programs. So you get everything exactly same as you get in fast track program, except you don't have the live presence. You can still ask me question through WhatsApp. You can call me. We can talk about that. But all of them are equally good. It depends your budget, your availability, and your location. I have 4 programs coming up from next weekend. You can check the dates. The fast track program 10th of Feb, and then another fast track program. So depending upon which part of the world you are, you can attend number 3 fast track program or 4th. Some program will work good for the New York or US time zone, and other program will work better for you in Australian time zone or India or Middle East. Okay, again, this will be available. This is available on my website, and I will share this recording level, so you know where to find this. And you can always call me and you find that. Some of the other products I have: application services, PgMP Challenger, and complete reference guide, and Pathfinder. And if you are attending my bootcamp or a mentoring program, you get all this for free. And if you just want to buy these books, you can also buy them, except the Pathfinder. Pathfinder will come as part of the question bank. Okay. Some information about the Pathfinder. It's all the 72 tasks broken down into smaller pieces, easy to remember, easy to create a picture for yourself. And Challenger is one set of question. I'm working on more questions. At this stage, I have one set of question, but some of the question you may see in, or similar question you may see in the exam. So some people are trying 2 to 3 questions, or maybe up to 10 questions from my question bank. All right. Last but not the least, you can book if you half an hour with me. And if you have not attended my program, or not planning to attend my program, or you're thinking about considering selecting a mentor, or anything about PgMP, doesn't matter, it's obligation free. You can use this link, and you have visibility to my calendar, and you can book some time with me. Okay, 15 minutes or half an hour. Okay, and questions. Do we have any questions? I do not see any question on the question board. Anybody like to ask questions here? Please write on the. No, so it looks like we have covered everything. So guys, you can see my email address and my website and my phone number. Feel free to drop me an email or call me. I will able to resolve your queries and help you out how to prepare for your exam. Okay, and yes, this link again, this will help you to book a half an hour with me. It's obligation free, and you will book my time with me. All right, guys, I think that's enough from us. And if you have last minute question, please write it. And otherwise, see you around. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dharam.
All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.